Good morning and Happy New Year. Yeah, welcome to the Unitarian Society of Santa Barbara on this beautiful, blustery, post-rain, makes you feel alive, cloud show of a day. Welcome to all of you gathered here in the sanctuary, and welcome to all of you joining us online and Facebook and Zoom. Whether you've come here today for hope or inspiration, for strength or for comfort, for community or for meeting, or for just to take a deep breath, we are glad you are here. All people of goodwill are welcome. We at the Unitarian Society of Santa Barbara strive to live our lives with integrity, nurture wonder, and inspire the action that transform us and transform the world. And a special shout out to those of you attending here or online for the first time. Anyone out there? Welcome. Please sign our welcome book here or online so that we can keep you in touch with the many offerings that happen on Sunday mornings and all throughout the week. My name is Kier Zecker, and I'm a member of your worship arts team. Today is a lay-led service. And it's promising to be a very special lay-led service because we, as your entire worship arts team, took a stake in Ken Ralph's idea to present our credos on what we believe to you the first day of the year and to collaborate on all parts of this service. And one thing I believe helps create our container of worship, of why we're here today, a warm space to be together for the next hour, is to intentionally welcome each other. Let us know that we're glad we're here. So if you're willing and able and you want to say hello to your neighbor, those around you online, type a brief introduction, give a smile, say hello.
Yeah.
All right, come on back. And a reminder that we have coffee hour both here in the courtyard after service and online. You can stick around and continue conversation with each other. Right now, I'd like to call up Carol Switzer for a member of our Alliance group for our first announcement.
Good morning. I'm happy to announce that on this Friday, this coming Friday at 2 o'clock in Parish Hall, we have the pleasure of hearing from Charla Brigante, our Director of Religious Exploration, who will be talking about the adult religious exploration program particularly, but I know she'll be very responsive to the people that are there listening, and she will answer your questions. We'll learn about her as well as about the program and what's coming up for it, what's new. And I think you'll agree that Charla brings her own beautiful version of Unitarian, the spirit of Unitarian Universalism to the work that she does here. And so it'll be a special opportunity to hear from her. 2 o'clock in Parish Hall, and there will be refreshments afterward. You're all invited, and bring a friend.
And Ken Ralph, would you come up?
I'm blanking out. No, connection circles. How many people here have participated in a connection circle? Just raise your hand. Almost everybody. And I'm going to assume that a lot of people online have done this as well. Hi, Catherine. Welcome. Happy New Year. Well, connection circles go for roughly about 6 months, and then we kind of mix everything up and create new connection circles with different people, a different composition, so we can hear new stories from one another. And our first segment of connection circles ran through from September through the end of January. And in February, we began a new series of connection circles. This is your opportunity to sign up once again, or if you haven't, it's a great thing to try, to sign up for the new series of connection circles that'll run from February through the end of June. And we have choices for you. I think right now we have 5 different connection circles that are planned for February through June. 3 of them are in person, 2 of them are by Zoom. And I'm not going to go through when they all are, but I would say this to you. Contact Carol Schwitzer. She's right there. You saw her up here. And you can ask her more about maybe what one would work for you. She's also going to be at a table out in the courtyard, and you'll be able to look at the various options you might have to participate in connection circles. Thank you.
Yeah, I invite you now to set aside any business, worries, to-do lists, and take a deep breath. Center yourself and your body and your space. And as we ring the bowl gong, may the sound ring out to wherever you are and connect us as we begin our time together. I'd like to invite Diana Platt up for our chalice lighting words this morning.
Good morning. Here are the chalice lighting words. We light this flame in celebration of a new day, a new year, a new chance to discover love, to experience transformation, to create new connections in our lives. May this flame encourage each of us to take one more step from darkness to light, from despair to elation, from fear to kindness. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Ellen Brody, and I'm also a member of the Worship Arts team. Every Sunday, we take a moment to reflect upon something that's good and positive in the world, and to acknowledge this by adding it to our hope jar. This morning, I'd like to lift up a wonderful connection that members of the USSB Justice and Equity team have made with a sister congregation, the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Stockton. As some of you may remember, some very special guests joined us at our October 30th service. A young family, Christina and Luce, and their 4.5-year-old daughter, Sophia, who are seeking asylum in the US and currently residing in Stockton. Justice and Equity has been doing all we can to support the family, but we're miles away and unfamiliar with services that might be available there. So actually not much help on the ground. One of our members, Sherry Runge, suggested that we identify a Unitarian congregation in Stockton with which to partner. The angels were clearly smiling upon us, because not only did we identify a congregation, but the minister, Reverend Matthew Pargeter Villarreal, is an open and proud gay man, fluent in Spanish, and with an abiding passion for immigrant justice. In addition, the congregation has an active social justice group. After Reverend Julia connected with Reverend Matt, members of our Justice and Equity team participated in a lively Zoom meeting with him and the leadership of their social justice committee. This morning, I'm honoring this partnership with First Unitarian Universalist Stockton by adding it to our hope jar. What a glorious example of the beloved community in action. If you've been moved by something that brought you hope, please share with friends during coffee hour or type it into the chat. We all need all the hope we can gather and share.
Please rise in body or spirit as we sing our opening hymn, number 323, Break Not the Circle. Break not the circle.
Happy New Year. It's nice to see so many people here on New Year's morning. We really weren't sure what to expect, so we're really happy you're all here. I'm Charlotte Bergante, the Director of Lifespan Religious Exploration here, and you know, in a few minutes, our esteemed worship arts team are going to bare their souls and share their deepest beliefs with all of us. And to warm them up and maybe to help make them feel more comfortable, we want to find out a little bit about what everybody here believes. So we're going to have you just shout out, like to fill in complete this sentence with just one word, maybe two if you need to. And you can shout them out or I'll come out to you as well. And Kier's going to write them on our board and we'll kind of create a word cloud on this whiteboard. So I believe in, who would like to start? Shout it out. Laughter. Universal love, equality. We might need a second writer. Anybody want to come help? Santa Claus, says Peter Hale. Community, kindness, angels, curiosity, justice, information, science, love. We are one. Beautiful music, Marilee. Creativity. Wow, you guys are on fire this morning. This is fantastic. Gardening. Forgiveness. Fun. Animals. Dancing. Wow, you guys are great. Any? Love. Healing. Hugs. Wonderful. Breed love and family. Passion. Flow. Wow. Wow. I think you guys can go home. I think they've done your work for you here. Wow. Thank you all. That was wonderful. And now we'll turn it back to our Worship Arts Committee. Kira, I wonder if we want to carry it. I'll help you down there and then people can look at it. Thank you all. That was wonderful.
Well, that is terrific. I thought of all of those before I came up with mine, but you're going to hear from the rest of us as to what we believe. And the reason that we're doing this is it occurred to me as we were thinking of what to do on January 1st, that I'm not really into resolutions. And it seems like maybe there would be a better activity to do on a year-to-year basis than being disappointed at not achieving your resolutions. And I spent a lot of time with coming of age with Kier. She still does it, where we take our 13-year-olds out on vision quests and whatnot. And anyway, they present a service to the congregation in which they state their personal credo, a statement of what they believe at that particular moment in their life. They're 13 years old. And we tell them all, be fearless about this because your beliefs will change as you move through life. But how often do we actually take a look at our core beliefs and tune them up? Give notice to what has happened in the past year, or in this case, what has happened since COVID, since Trump, all of the things that have happened to us. How has that affected our core beliefs? So that's what we're doing today. We're going to get a snapshot of the members of our worship committee tuning up their own statement of belief and focusing in on what they feel is most important at this time in their lives. And I want to introduce the members of this team. Well, we have Chuck Flax here, and Chuck has been a member of the worship team for a long time. And he's filling in for Angie, who could not be with us this morning. Angie Swanson, you'll see her later in the service by video. Here's Zecker, who's been with the worship team for a long time. Now we have Gary Welterlin as well as part of the team. Ellen Broidy, who I'm sure you've seen many times, and Justine Sutton, and myself, and Diana Platt. You're going to hear from JT Turner and Angie Swanson. It's a big team, and we love being able to share and collaborate in presenting services to you when our minister is not here. So with that, I guess we're going to start with our first statement of belief. And I think this one is JT by video.
Hi, good to be with you. My name is JT Turner, and I'm here to talk about my credo, or what I believe. As a good bleeding heart liberal, I believe in the usual things like social justice and love and compassion, but I don't want to talk about those things. I want to talk to you about a couple of other things I believe in. One is being funny or having a good sense of humor. And the second is the importance of complaining. And I also want to say that I believe in blue, as in blue vase, as in blue pillow, as in blue in the painting up there, and in blue, as in blue shirt. All right, so complaining. I'll give you an example where I really had a big impact through complaining. And this was in 2004 when I was living in Santa Barbara on Pedregosa between State Street and Chapala with my girlfriend Julia. One night I came home quite late and there was this really bad smell in the neighborhood. And I walked around and across the road was a funeral home, McDermott Crockett Funeral Home on the corner of State and Pedregosa. And at the back of the building, they had a chimney, and out of this chimney was coming this smoke. And it was that was smelling so bad and was filling up the neighborhood. And I was really disturbed. The next day, I called the county air quality management district, and I asked if this funeral home had a permit to run a crematorium to burn bodies. And they said, yes, they did since 1991. And so I was absolutely outraged that they were burning bodies in this residential neighborhood with a hotel across the road and houses and apartments right close to this place. So I went on a campaign, got the neighbors to sign a petition, complained to the Air Resources Board in Sacramento, bought a really fancy video camera to shoot video of the smoke coming out of this chimney at the back of the funeral home. And I will now show you something to demonstrate this, and you will see just how bad it got. This is them burning a body in the middle of the day, which they didn't usually do. They usually burn bodies at night, but I shot this in the middle of the day. And I took this photograph and a video and a bunch of neighbors to an area council of governments meeting in downtown Santa Barbara and showed them this video and said this was terrible. They were burning bodies in the neighborhood and they had a permit. The next day, the county closed it down, and it was front page news in the news press that we had actually campaigned for this. I had led the campaign and we'd been successful. So that shows you how complaining can be really effective. Now I'm going to tell you, because of believing in humor and being funny, I'll tell you a little joke I made up, which is this. Why do people who work in quarries struggle so much? Why do people who work in quarries struggle so much? And the answer is because they often hit rock bottom. All right, that's it for now. Toodaloo.
I spent most of my working life on a university campus, so I'm quite used to being asked, what do you think? I'm also pleased and proud to report that family, both my family of birth and my family of choice, score high on the emotional IQ scale. So I asked and was asked, what are you feeling, multiple times in a day? The question I do not recall being asked until now is, what do you believe? Guilty of taking an overly intellectual approach to the quandary suddenly before me, I needed to discover for myself the differences between thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. The closest I could come to differentiating amongst the three is that thoughts and feelings are often situational, tied to either a specific question or how I, or anyone for that matter, reacts reacts to the emotional or physical sensations of a particular moment, the moment the question is posed. Beliefs, on the other hand, while not immutable, are bedrock. They anchor thoughts, feelings, and most significantly, they anchor our actions. But a working definition, or at least spelling out some concepts I felt comfortable with, was still a far cry from articulating what it is I do believe. I began to question whether it might be possible that I don't hold any strong beliefs. Am I among the unlucky few who find it a challenge to commit head and heart and soul to core tenets that focus and direct my actions? Perhaps the answer is both sillier and simpler than that. After years of editing, I've become so addicted to the power of words that I'm fearful of stating out loud something that sounds less like a belief and more like a particularly annoying bumper sticker. Clearly, it was time for a reset. One of the benefits of being a member of the worship arts team is when your turn comes around to draft a reflection or prepare or select a chalice lighting, you are encouraged, or in my case, forced, to think anew about a topic or a theme. While this isn't always easy or comfortable, it's most assuredly valuable. So I want to take advantage of this gentle nudge to try my hand at articulating and sharing some beliefs. I believe in the healing and challenging power of friendship. I believe in the Jewish mantra, Tikkun Olam, the just repair of the world. I believe in the strength of communities. Together we can move mountains. I believe in the majesty and mystery of both city streets and country trails. And although I worship no God or Adonai or Allah, when the butterflies returned to Elwood Grove, I began to more fully appreciate that there's something magical and ultimately unknowable about our world and the universe, and that sometimes I just need to take a deep breath and believe.
Good morning and Happy New Year. Or as we say today, one, 2, 3. That great American philosopher Forrest Gump said it best. Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what's inside. So I'm going to talk about friendship today. James Lawson, 312 Bernie Circle, Knoxville, Tennessee, 37934. Voicemail. Welterlin, Lawson, sorry I missed you. You must be out collecting signatures to save the whales. Call me when you get back. Sometimes that voicemail is much more colorful, but that's Jim. We call each other every 3 months. More often than not, we end up leaving a voicemail. Trying to sync up the time zones, Jim is in Tennessee and I'm in Santa Barbara, can be problematic since we usually call on the spur of the moment and forget it could be breakfast or happy hour or in the middle of the evening. I've often got a call while ushering. Nonetheless, we usually make the connection by the next day. For about 30 minutes, we talk about everything but politics. We've agreed long ago that it's a fool's errand to try to change closely held beliefs. The topics really haven't changed over the years: sports, golf, kids, travel, and mutual acquaintances. But since we now are both over 70, there's now more time spent on aches and pains, medications, who's died, and what it's like for us to be old. At the end of the call, we sign off with, I love you and talk to you soon, and we go about our lives till the next call. Debbie and I left New England 45 years ago for the corporate sales life. We lived in 5 cities and 3 states before calling Santa Barbara home 25 years ago. During that time, I've had thousands of contacts, hundreds of acquaintances, and dozens of friends and close neighbors. But there are about a handful of these relationships that transcend into love. Some of them I see frequently, Others I talk to but once or twice a year. Our relationship with each is unique, yet in the end, there's a common denominator. Our relations are based on trust and acceptance of each other for who we are. We have few, if any, secrets. I've often said and believe that everybody has a story. It's a longer statement, but I'll leave it at that. These few are the ones I share my story with. Over all these years, you would think I would have come to predict who they would be, but I don't. I've had neighbors and friends who share these traits, but in the end, after a few years, we exchange our pre-printed holiday cards that are seldom signed. We had in the moment could not be past the test of time. And that's okay. And then there are a few friendships that over time bubble up when you least expect them. And for some reason, the relationship grows and turns into love. This week, I asked Jim why he thought our friendship passed this test of time. He said he couldn't be sure. It just does, he says. Jim and I have been friends for over 40 years. I was a sales guy from New England, and he was a software engineer from Knoxville, Tennessee. We met through work, and over the years became closer. Over the years, in many relocations and physical distance, we celebrated our successes, consoled our failures, and provided safe harbor when life's misfortune befell us. We talk about his recovery from cancer, and he always asks me about how Gordon is doing. We call each other just to talk without a reason or agenda. We laugh, we cry, we agree to disagree, but mostly we support each other in life's journey. We try not to change who we are or what we believe. We accept our differences and make ourselves available when we are called upon each other in our time of need. I have only a half a dozen friends like Jim, men, women, straight, gay, liberal, conservative, spiritual or not. Some have died. Each holds a special place in my life. Each knows my story and mine, and theirs mine. I love them and think of them every day. They are a gift, and I'm the one blessed.
Hello, everybody. So it's funny, as you know, I'm a very tall person, but because of the way my knees are, I need to sit up here. So sitting on this stool, I get to sort of play the role of a short person, hoping you can see me over the top of the lectern. It's a different part to play. So first off, I want to say it is a real honor to be here this morning alongside my worship arts teammates and with all of you, and to have been offered an invitation to share what I believe on this New Year's Day. As we all do, I believe a lot of things. You know, I'm pagan, and so I believe that nature and the seasons, as well as all of ourselves, to be sacred. I believe in social justice and civil rights and free expression and democracy. And I'm thrilled that for the past 7 years, all of who I am and what I believe have been embraced here by this congregation, by all of you. Something came to me recently that I'd like to focus on here as a belief. As JT brought up, humor, laughter, play. I believe these are sacred. There's a connection of our spirits that I believe happens when we laugh together. An expression of our deepest humanity, I believe. It has to do with understanding each other from a deep place, sharing a commonality. And when we laugh together, there's more that happens than a good feeling and bonding with another person, though those, of course, are lovely things. I believe there's a commingling of our spirits that takes place. I picture tiny sparkly little bits of our spirits kind of jumping around to the rhythm, to the tempo of our laughter, like confetti or fireflies. And when the laughter dies down, some of those sparkly bits, I believe, are exchanged so that we forever have a little of that person's spirit within us. So I believe that humor and laughter and playfulness, which all go together, are sacred, a sacred expression of our humanity. And sharing that with another person is sacred, whether it's a partner, a friend, a beloved family member. With family, we often have such rich material, right? The longstanding, the jokes, and the, oh, do you remember the time? The stories that we delight in hearing, even though we know we were there, but we love to hear the story over and over. Each time it bonds us together again when we laugh about it. My parents both enjoyed humor a lot, so no big surprise that I inherited that from them. My dad would sometimes laugh so hard at his own jokes that he could barely get the punchline out. As a child, I loved how my mom would read stories with funny voices for all the different characters. And we would listen together to albums of Monty Python and Lily Tomlin. We loved to laugh together always, but as I grew up, our humor could be more sophisticated and complex. And of course, there were the added years of common history to draw from. During our last Christmas holiday together in 2009, my mom said the most wonderful thing to me. Nobody makes me laugh like you do. Having heard what I believe about humor and laughter, I think you have an idea of how much this means to me. So today, share a laugh with someone and feel how your spirits light up when you do. Thank you.
Good morning and Happy New Year. I'm Angie Swanson-Kiriakou. Good morning and Happy New Year. I'm Angie Swanson-Kiriakou. I use she, her pronouns, and I am a member of the worship arts team. For a number of years, members of our congregation, including youth representatives, have traveled to a Hopi reservation in Arizona on a service work trip. A similar trip is scheduled for later this spring. Our January outreach offering will be shared with Sumi Nwanga, an organization whose mission is to provide food, clothing, medical supplies, and firewood to Navajo and Hopi elders seeking to maintain their traditional lifestyles on their reservations. This is a way to build bridges between cultures and to encourage Hopi and Navajo artists to continue to produce their unique traditional arts and crafts. Please give as generously as you can. Please join me in saying the affirmation of gratitude and giving. Let us be grateful when we are able to give, for many do not have that privilege. Let us be grateful for those who share their gifts with us, for we are enriched by their giving. And let us be grateful even for our needs, so that we may learn from the generosity of others. Thank you.
Feel free to sing along.
I believe in flow. Have you ever had that feeling of being fully absorbed in a task or an activity? Time slips away. The present seems effortless and clear. What you are doing seems to be automatic and coming from somewhere beyond your control. In fact, it feels wrong to try to control it. You know that the best thing to do is to just relax and allow whatever is happening to move through you. I believe that my best work comes from a place of not straining, not trying too hard, but allowing. I believe that my easiest relationships come from a state of shared grace, an effortless understanding, and a burning curiosity. I believe that this knowing, this allowing, this being with what is happening now is the flow. Many who meditate seek this state of flow. In transcendental meditation, when I find the mantra and allow the breath, the mind, the thoughts, and the body to take care of themselves, I open myself to a transcendent awareness that creates a sense of calm. I am living in flow. I imagine that anyone who creates things is tapping into a flow. Ken Riles, our beloved and departed music director, used to tell us, feel the music coming through you, not from you. On the surface, this makes no sense. Without our voices, there's no music. But no, the music is part of a flow of sound that we simply must attune ourselves to in order to produce. More effort is counterproductive. Pushing causes roughness or even damage to our voices. Many times I would try to imagine how a song we were working on would come together, and then I would just relax and trust that we could all rise to this together. And like magic, the song would emerge beautifully. We were flowing. I believe that flow is not a mystical thing, though its force is mysterious. I consciously tap into flow. The flow is always there, but I'm rarely able to find it. To flow, I must be at the height of my preparation to be in tune with it. When I'm about to sing, for example, I'm not just winging it. In fact, the whole idea of the unrehearsed performance terrifies me. I must practice, 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 and really know my part. The difference is that this work is not born of effort, it's the product of appreciation, understanding, and awareness. I flow because I know I can, and I must. No flow comes without preparation and clarity. With the right circumstances and preparation and awareness, I find I have access to flow. Here, I'm at my highest self. In all my interactions and practices, I'm aware that a flow is possible. If I'm calm and know my purpose, I can flow in community. When I'm quiet and open, I can flow in our church. When I'm ready to listen and not solve the problem, I can flow in my relationships. And this is the hardest thing. When I can let go of judgment and self-criticism, I can flow in love of myself. Flow emerges when I appreciate what I have. Flow comes from gratitude. Flow moves on love. I believe in flow.
As a child growing up in the 70s, my family moved often. usually to another state, which meant starting school in a very different environment, being the new kid in class. I remember some of those first weeks in a new school. My seat was typically in the back right corner because my last name is Zecker. And typically my first name was mispronounced on roll call, but I was too timid to correct the teacher. I was a shy, self-conscious little person, and I already felt I was different from others. So I held myself tightly, still and protected, choking down my sadness and hoping I was invisible. Then it would happen, not always on the first day, but eventually. There would be one classmate who would turn and without a word, give me a smile. In third grade, it was a girl named Sherry. "Are you really smiling at me?" I questioned. I locked eyes to test if it was true. And something inside me broke, my armor. I could feel the flow of fear melting and hope arise. At that moment, I felt connection and something softening, knowing I would be okay here and I could relax into being myself. I believe in the power of a smile to transform us and those around us into happier, more peaceful beings. I believe in the power of a smile that can pull us out of our own misery and get us back on track. I believe the power of a smile works as powerfully on us as it does on others. And why do I believe this? I want to share 4 aspects of smiling I think are amazing. Number 1, a smile is born in presence for another, and it can go where words cannot. Words cannot possibly know all that is truly ailing another, but a smile does. The giver of the smile just has to open their heart and attention, and the receiver may hear, "You are not alone," or "You can do this," or "You are beautiful," or "You are welcome here," or "I love you." And the bonus cool thing on number 1 is this power works across all ages, genders, political affiliations, ethnicities, socioeconomic statuses. It can even work on Zoom. And smiling is contagious, right? So there's a lot of science behind this, but simply when we feel better, and people will feel better when you smile, they'll smile and it goes out to the world. It's a happiness, a ripple effect, an endless loop. Mother Teresa says every time you smile at someone, it's an action of love. It's a gift to that person, a beautiful thing. And when I think of all the beautiful gifts I've been given, probably hundreds of thousands rich with these gifts of smile, beginning from my mom and dad's first loving gaze, family connections, and tens of thousands of strangers. And for all this richness, what did it cost? Nothing. Which is number 3, a smile is absolutely free. It's endless, always available. Thich Nhat Hanh says, sometimes your joy is the source of your smile, but sometimes your smile is the source of your joy. And it brings me to number 4, that the power of smile works as strongly on me as others. Believing in the power of smile guides the way I live today. I practice smiling, loving kindness to myself generously throughout the day. The simple act of upturning the corners of my mouth brings me to presence. It restores my hope and sense of peace. I practice picturing all people past and present in my life with a smile, because this image of them smiling connects me to their love and goodness. And I practice smiling at others wholeheartedly, compassionately, and abundantly every day, everywhere I go. I put my heart and presence into it, trusting in this power to share my love and light with the world so effectively. Because we never know when that one smile is going to be life-changing for someone else. To the person stuck in their fear or distress, one smile can be a lifeline to feeling at ease, a key to freedom from fear, like Sherry and so many others like you have been for me.
last Friday evening, Anita and I enjoyed a wonderful chicken cacciatore dinner at the home of Lorraine and Craig Woodman. And joining us at the meal was Ken and Nancy Beiser. Now, all of us, all six of us, were longtime members of the Unitarian Society. And as with so many connections made here, we were acquainted with each other and we were familiar with each other, but we really didn't know each other all that well. And we've been members for 23 years, Anita and I. Well, the reason for our gathering this night was because of an item we'd won at the services auction a few months back. The six of us had very spontaneously decided to join forces and bid on a one-week stay at Jim and Judy Robinson's gorgeous June Lake cabin in the Sierras. And having won the bid, we thought it might be a good idea to get to know each other a little bit better if we're going to be spending a week in the mountains and see how that works out. Well, we sat down at the dinner table and we were greeted by plates piled high with Nancy's scrumptious apple walnut salad, and we began to talk. There was a little talk about politics, a little gossip about church goings on, of course, and way too much time with health issues, as none of us are spring chickens, right? But once we settled in, the vast majority of our time was filled with sharing experiences from our lives. I heard stories about fishing, about travel adventures and misadventures, about how these couples met, about their wedding day, about their children, about where each of us was and were doing back in the 60s, and even more stories about fishing. And as dessert was served, some of Anita's impossibly good berry crumble, the conversation shifted to stories about games we grew up playing in our family. And in the midst of this conversation, Ken Beiser recalled a story I told to this congregation in a Sunday service reflection. It was about playing cards in my family and how much I loved seeing my dad, this otherwise very quiet man, come alive and telling jokes and teasing my mom as he winked and laughed and took another swig of beer. I just loved my dad at the card table. Well, when I got home, I looked up this story in this file where I store all of my reflections. And I saw that I delivered this story back in March of 2015, almost 8 years ago. And I was flabbergasted that Ken would recall it so fondly. Clearly, it touched something in him, just as it did in me. And I realized that Ken and I weren't quite the strangers I imagined. You see, we had already made a connection 8 years before, and simply because of that story that I had told about my dad. I believe in the power of stories. I believe that our stories not only define us, they connect us. I believe that when a story resonates, whether it's a story of love or loss or humiliation or celebration, our all too frequent sense of isolation begins to evaporate. We begin to realize that we are not alone, that our experience of life is not as unique as we might have imagined. And I believe that this is what opens the door to kindness and understanding and love. I believe in the power of stories. I really look forward to our stay at June Lake, eating good food, taking long hikes, playing cards, and maybe catching a few fish. And I'm looking forward to sharing many more stories with Lorraine and Craig and Nancy and Ken. And I'm sure that we'll come back with more great stories to share with you.
Everyone, please rise in body or spirit as we sing our closing hymn, 318, We Would Be One.
Please remain standing, and with permission, take the hand of someone near you or put your hand over your heart. As we come to the end of our time of worship together, let us take this moment to acknowledge and give thanks for all that's good and peaceful and beautiful around us, for the challenges we face with grace and fortitude, for the love and support of our UU community and the larger community we're striving to build. As we venture out into the world this new year, full of promise and peril, may the light of love shine upon you, out from within you, be gracious unto you, and bring you peace. For this is the moment and the year we are given. Let us rejoice and be glad. And for the first time in 2023, let us lift our voices and call out a blessing.